which deployments? Yeah, so we are using the which deployment strategies? We are using the, so most of the cases all the people are using a real-time environment, all the people are using the rolling update
Rolling
and the
out.
rolling update, and the most of the people, the criticalities, the criticality applications, they are using the blue and green deployment model. So which model, guys?
Blue and green.
Yeah, blue and green deployment model. Blue green deployment model. Are you able to see my screen?
No, sir.
Yeah, now?
Yes, sir. Visible.
I will show you this. So what is that? Kind, right? So the kind is, what is the kind, guys? So what is the deployment? So replication controller we done, replica set also we done. So now deployment. What is this, guys? Deployment. So deployment. So deployment one is the Kubernetes resource and component. Deployment is the most recommended approach to deploy our application in the Kubernetes cluster. Right. So what is that, guys? Deployment is the most recommended approach to deploy our applications in Kubernetes cluster. Right, guys? So using deployment, we can scale up and scale down the pods. So deployment supports the rollout and rollback. Deploy latest code have to delete RC, RS, then pods will delete, application will down. So we can deploy latest code with zero downtime using deployment. So what is that, guys? So we can
Deploy with zero downtime.
we can deploy latest code with zero downtime using deployment. Right, guys? Using a deployment. So we can deploy latest code with a zero downtime using deployment. So what is that, guys? We can use the default is, what is the default Kubernetes strategies?
Rolling out.
Strategies is rolling update. So rolling update. So what zero downtime deployment, rollout and rollback, and auto scaling. So the deployment strategies is recreate and rolling update. By default, we are using the rolling update. So what is that, guys? Default by using the rolling update. So what is the YAML file, guys? What are the attributes are there? API version, kind, metadata, spec. So these are the three. Yeah, so this is the deployment file. So what is this? This is the what is the API version? Apps v1. We can use v1 or apps v1. So that is the what is the kind, guys? Kind
Deployment.
is deployment. So this is only for the deployment, and the other one is. So what is the other one, guys? Other one is service, right? The pods. So whatever the pods, the pods, whatever the pods. So we need to expose the outside of the. So we need to expose the outside also, right? So we need to create the deployment YAML file. So what is that, guys? So we need to create the deployment YAML file. Deployment dot YAML. So what this is, guys? This is a deployment dot YAML. Yep, guys. So this is the deployment.yaml. So we created a two two services. One is a deployment, other one is the service. So we created two YAML files. So one is a deployment file, and another one is the service of file. So 1 second, guys. I have already write down this YAML files. AWS DevOps material. Jenkins, Kubernetes, load balancer, deployment.yaml. Yeah, so this is the deployment.yaml. So API version is v1. So API version is v1. The kind is deployment, metadata, nginx web app deployment. So spec replicas equal to 3, strategy equal to type of strategy. So recreate. So we can use a recreate or a rolling update. First we can set the recreate. So then selector match labels. So this is the what this is, guys. This is a match labels equality selector or a set based selector. This is the set based selectors. So right, match labels. So this is the set based selectors. This is the replica set we use, and the template metadata. So this is the template we use, and the spec container. The container name is web app nginx, image equal to nginx, ports equal to container port, then service file. You know, right, guys? Okay. So we will use this deployment.yaml file. So what is that? Pod deployment manifest file. So what is this, guys? Pod deployment. So manifest file. So 1 second, I want to connect with the AWS, right? So enter the console. Sign in as a root user. So what is that, guys? Pavan Venkata Pavan. This, guys, AWS @ 2024. EKS it is running, right? So the other one, yeah, this is top state. We need to connect this. Pawan joined, Chesna joined. Putty. Authentication, browse, case 21 batch, parents change, thing, okay, open, accept. What is the command, guys? kubectl get parts. Pods are running, right? I want to delete everything. kubectl delete parts. If parts delete all hyphen all, right? Yeah, it will delete everything. So kubectl get parts, kubectl get svc, get rc, rs, replica set. Okay, so everything is deleted. So we want to create a deployment dot ml. So deployment dot ml.
So why?
So prod manifest file. This is copy, paste, insert. Why this is not added? Yeah, API version apps v1, kind deployment, metadata, Nginx web app deployment. So the name is Nginx web app deployment. So spec replicas equal to 3, strategy equal to recreate or rolling update. Okay, so selector equal to match label, Nginx web app template. This is on the labels name. This is so this is for the match labels. Okay, So this is app, Nginx app, right? How it verify it, how we can recognize it, recognize by using the Nginx web app. The spec containers, the container name equal to Nginx web app. So it is taking from the web that default Docker image. The port is in 80 and the API version service manifest file. In the service manifest file, so we are using the node port. Node port is for the outside of the network. We can use it selectors and ports and this. So selector, right? I think post selector. Post selector. Why it is coming this way? Wait, we name spec container selector. Let's check, no worries. Okay. kubectl apply -f deployment.aml. Yeah, the deployment is created, service also created, right? kubectl get s get parts -o wide. Yeah, these are the parts. kubectl get svc. So this is the service. kubectl get rs. Yeah, so this is the rs. Yeah, so what is the replica, guys? So replica count is 3. So it's a recreate. So once we deploy the application, right, it will delete everything and it will create automatically. It will create one by one is nothing but a rolling update. So entire we can delete and we need to create a one by one. It is nothing but a recreate. Guys, now you understood? So how the deployment file is creating. So this is the real time how the deployment files are created by using these guys. Understood?
Sir, for recreate, we should delete everything, na, sir.
It will delete everything. So for example, you are taking the image, right, in JNX, or you can take the image of some other image, something like image 1.0 here. You are taking. So new image is 2.0. So then that time, so if you use the if you run the deployment YAML file, that this file kubectl apply file, so it will automatically delete everything and create a new ones. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What you can do, you can create a one merge request from 1.0 to 2.0. Yeah, so it will the deployment file will modified, right? Once you deleted these files, this deployment file, this deployment services that automatically creates other ones, right? It automatically creates other ones. First it will deleted one by one, then it will start to create one by one on Nginx 2.0. But if you use the rolling update, first part will delete Nginx 1.0 and it will create another one. The second part will delete and create one by one, and third part will delete and create a new one. Okay, so one by one deletion and creation is nothing but a rolling update. The entire deletion and the entire creation is nothing but a recreate. Okay, understood?
Sir, replicas also same, na, sir. Replica set.
That is also same. Replica set same, but what we are using the, so our application will not down. So that's the reason we are using the strategies. What is the
Strategies.
strategies? Rolling update,
Recreate.
recreate, or rolling update. So why we are using the deployment as a manifest file in the real time? Now you understood, right? Because of the deployment strategies. That's the reason we are using a deployment file as in the real time. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I will show you that the other thing. You guys can try it. The Kubernetes, right? Yeah, what you guys can try it. I will show you. Yeah, so now you understood, right? The deployment file creation, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, something like we can use replicas. So replica 3, right? We need to set the replica 5 as a default also. So how you can check it? So you can check it by using you can add it by using so right, kubectl get deployment. So get deployment. Yeah, so the deployment is 3 by 3. Okay. I want to scale up and scale down. I already showed you, right? kubectl scale deployment. So what is the deployment file, guys? nginx deployment hyphen. So now replicas are 3, right? I'm increasing manually to 5. So kubectl get deployment. So we increase to 5. kubectl get pods. So get pods means, yeah. So we increase it to 5. So we increase it to 5, and we are setting as a 3, right? So we scale down to 3. Now 3 only. Okay. So this is a deployment, how to create a deployment and how to run the pods or recreate a rolling update, right? The blue green deployment, less risk, zero downtime, easy rollback, so seamless user experience, right? So yeah, so what you can do is I will give you the task to you guys, the blue green deployment model. The blue green deployment model, what you guys can do, the first step one, you guys can create blue deployment.aml file. Now you understood, right, how to create the blue YAML file. So the same like as a, so this is the blue YAML file, right? So the same like as a, you can create the one YAML file. Okay. So for example, this is the blue deployment YAML file. Okay. The second step, what you can do is expose blue pods using live service, right? The second part you can use access application using live services. blue plots are run, right? Blue plots will run. So this is the first thing. So right, this is the blue deployment. So blue deployment. So then so you can use the same deployment, and you can use the same deployment, and so you can do what you can do. You can create a green deployment. Create green deployment.aml. So right, so in the green deployment aml, so you can modify the change the image version, guys. You can change the image version, right? The nginx image version, and create a green deployment with the latest image. Create a green deployment with the latest image. So then expose the green pods, guys. Then same like as expose the blue pods, right? The expose the green pods. Expose the green pods. So green pods using pre-prod service, guys. Using pre-prod service. Sixth one. So expose the access the application. Access the application using pre-prod service. So the something like so down the something like what you can do. So once we create the latest, right, this will down. So this will down, and this will so you can up the green. You can up the green. Down the blue, and up the green deployment, right? Now the latest image will deployed, so with a zero downtime. So latest image with the deployed with the zero downtime. Guys, understood, right? The next so what we discussed about the config maps, right? Configs and maps. Uh, it will change the properties. Config map manifest. So what is the config map manifest? Yeah, so everything something like the config map manifest. Config map manifest file. Config map manifest file. What is that? So API, again API version, API version, kind metadata spec. So metadata, and here we need to give the data, not a spec but data. Because of why data? So right, we need to provide the values, right? Config means the database username. The database username we know, but the passwords will not. Config and secrets. So the config is nothing but the config, right? The config will show will give the data. So will give the variable names and take it from the other services. Take it from the variable, right? We can use the API version kind metadata and data, right? So what is the API version? API version is v1, and then kind equal to config map and the metadata. So metadata name. So we can provide the metadata name. So name equal to what is that? So something Flipkart hyphen db hyphen config map. So for example, Flipkart, we have the example of a Flipkart. So we need to provide the labels also. What is that? A labels. So what is the labels? Storage. So what is the label? Storage equal to Flipkart DB storage. So Flipkart DB storage, and we need to provide the data, the storage data, right? So in the data, so we can provide the driver name. What is that, guys? DB underscore driver underscore name underscore value. So this is a DB driver value, the DB service name value, and DB schema value, DB port value, For example, these are the configs. So these are the config maps. So these are the usernames. These are the driver name, service name, schema value, port value. So everyone can everyone can see it, right? But the secrets we cannot see. The passwords we cannot see. For the for the config maps, we can use these names. So something like what is that? Com dot. For example, so what is that? Com dot mysql dot cj dot jdbc dot driver. For example, so this is the driver. So what is the service name? Flipkart hyphen app hyphen db hyphen service. The name is db hyphen service. So what is the name of the schema value? Flipkart Flipkart hyphen app. This is the value. So what is the port, guys? The port is 3306. What is the Postgres right? MySQL port number is, this is the values. So everyone can see these values, and the values are changes from these values. These values are uh, changes from the environment, something like dev environment, um dev environment, or QA environment, or production environment. So these values should be different, right? So for this purpose, we can use this config map file for every environment. So this is for dev, this is for QA, something is different for the, these are the different values and different names, secrets for the config and map. So secrets for the config and map. So I think you guys can forgot, right? Yeah. So the dynamic properties, we created the dynamic properties here, guys. Yeah. So these all are the dynamic properties. So you see, so code plus the dynamic properties. So it will change the pod. So we will provide the config map for the stack, config map for the dev environment, config map for the production environment. So everything will be different, right? The secrets and the configs. So that's the reason. So we create a separate manifest file for the config map and secrets. So these values are different from the other environments, dev environment, QA environment, and the production environment. The production environment and the secret file. So how you can create the secret file? Something like you can check the get config maps. Oh shit. Ubuntu kubectl get config map. Yeah, so kube root ca dot set, this is the default one. So this is related to Kubernetes control plane. But so how you can create the config map? You can create the config map by using this file. So you can create the config map by using this files and secret manifest. How you can create the a secret manifest, right? So what is that, guys? A secret manifest. Secret manifest YAML file. So secret and manifest YAML file. So below is the secret YAML. Below is the manifest YAML file. So how you can create the same API, kind, metadata, data, and type. So how you can create, guys? So API version, next kind. What is the kind, guys? So what is API version? API version is v1 and kind is
Secret.
secret. What is the kind? Kind is a secret. Yeah, metadata. So what is the metadata? So metadata name. You can provide the metadata name. So what is the metadata name, guys? For example, flip cart -db -config -secret. Right. So label. What is the label, guys? Label name is something like a secret. Label name secret. So what is the secret? Flipkart db config -secret. Config-secret. Again, we can need to provide the data. Here also we can provide the data. So data, right? So what is the data? db username value. What is that, guys? db underscore user name underscore value. db underscore name underscore value and db underscore password underscore value. db underscore password underscore value. So what is the username? Username also we are providing the encrypted format. So for example, the encrypted format HPV8 DCA or something like. So this is the encrypted username and encrypted password. So this is the encrypted username and password. So then type. What is that, guys? Type. So what is the type? So type is, so how you can created this password? This password created with the opaque Q. What is that, guys? So this password is created with opaque Q. Yeah. So here we can create the we can create the username and passwords. So you can create the username and passwords. Okay. So the type equal to, so opaque Q. So then 3 dots. So what this is? This is the a secret manifest file. So this is the secret manifest file. So how you can reading the data from the config map? We are providing the config, right? So how you can reading the data from the config map. What is that? So how it will read read the data from config map, right? So we need to read this data from the config map, right? How you can do it? So we can use the hyphen name. What is that? A db driver class. So db driver class. So driver class is something like a value of from. So where it from the config map key. So it will reference from the config map key refer. Config map key refer. The name. What is the name, guys? Name Flipkart hyphen db hyphen config hyphen map. It will take from here. And the key, what is the key, guys? Key is a driver name. What is the key, guys? Key is the a driver name. db underscore driver underscore name underscore value. Name underscore so value. So this is reading from the config map. How you can read the config map? So we need to read these values, right? We need to read these values. We need to provide in the AML file, MAML manifest file. So this is from the config map. So how you can read from the, how it will read, how it will read the data from secret. How it will read the data from the secret. How it will read, so how it will read, we need to create another, we need to add the the password, right? Hyphen name colon db underscore password. So that password value. So what is that? A value from. We can take a value from. Where it will take from value? Again, secret key reference. So what is that? Secret key reference. Secret key refer. So from the secret key reference, so we are taking these secret keys. So we are taking the secret key. Name equal to, what is that, guys? Flipkart hyphen db hyphen config hyphen secret. The key is key. What is the key, guys? db underscore password underscore value. Password underscore value. So right. So how we can take the, how we can read from the secret values, how we can read the that config map. So we can include in the this, we can include this in the YAML file. So we can include this in the YAML files. So hard coded properties. So we can hard coded the properties. Hard coded properties means we will provide the username password, something like hard coded means. So hard coded properties means we will provide in the, we will provide the usernames, for example root, password equal to password also root. So this is the, hard coded. We don't want to hard coded the, username on prompt. So we can use the config map and secret for hard coded. So properties we will provide with the different username and passwords. So application properties with the environment variables, right? So we will provide the, something like db username, So how you can provide username something like we will provide in the variable we will provide it in the variable something like db underscore username root password echo. We are providing this, right? But we are not providing these values. We are providing with this config map and secrets. Guys, now you understood? So this is nothing but a config maps and secrets. So what is the stateless application and stateful application? So what is the difference between stateless application and a stateful application? So what is the difference between stateless and a stateful? Stateless application versus stateful application. Stateful application. Stateless versus a stateful application. So stateless application cannot store the data permanently. Status application cannot store data permanently for every request. For every request they will get a new data and it will process that every data. It will process the data. It will process the data and every request will be treated as new request. For example, Node.js app, Nginx app, boot app, something like, right? Stateful application means they will store the data permanently and they will keep it as a track. So what is that? So this is a app application. So application purpose we can use a front end. So front end and a business application purpose we are using a stateless, and stateful means stateful applications. So stateful applications means they will store the data permanently. They will store the data permanently. And they will keep track of data. So for example, MySQL, Postgres, Oracle, DB2, all the databases. So DB2, MongoDB. So everything will be permanently tracked the data. To run the stateful containers in the Kubernetes cluster, it will use the stateful set component. So what is that, guys? So if you create to run the stateful and stateless. Stateful means the databases, right? Database containers. To run the stateful containers. So containers means database containers. So the database containers in Kubernetes cluster. So we will use stateful set concept. What is the concept, guys? Stateful set concept. So that stateful set will assign a sticky identity. For each pod starting from 0. for each prod starting from 0. Starting from 0 in stateful setup, say in stateful setup, primary and secondary pods will be created. So in the stateful set, primary and secondary pods will be created. Primary and secondary pods will create. Primary and secondary pods will create. And so once primary pod is created, then by copying primary pod data, secondary pod will be created. So once primary is created, then by copying primary pod data, secondary pod will be created. Secondary pod will be created, right? So once primary is created, so then the copy of the secondary will be created. So what is that? No new pod will created by copying the previous pod data. The previous pod is pending state, then the new pod will not be created. In stateful set, pods will be deleted in a reverse order. So what is that, guys? In reverse order. So what is the difference between deployment and a stateful state? So what is the difference between what is the diff between a deployment and a stateful state? So what is the difference between a deployment and a stateful set? So what is the difference, guys? So the difference is deployment will create the pods within a random IDs, right? Deployment will create the pods with random IDs, and deployment will scale down. Deployment will scale down pods in random order. So random order deployment pods are stateless. What is that, guys? Stateless pods. But in the stateful set will create pods with the sticky identity. So sticky identity, stateful set will scale down pods in random order, not a random order, in reverse order. Stateful set pods are stateful, but these pods are, so deployments are stateless, but a stateful set is stateful. So for application deployment, we will use the deployment. For database deployment, we will use the stateful set, right, guys? So note is for application deployment purpose, we'll use deployment as a manifest. We'll use the deployment for database deployment purpose. We'll use the stateful set. stateful set. Right, guys? Now you understood? So that is stateful set and stateless set. So deployment is a stateless set. So application purpose we are using. So the database we using the stateful set. So stateful set means it will track the everything. Stateful set manifest YAML file and the stateless YAML file. So we'll show you tomorrow, guys. Okay. Then so next we'll show you the daemon set and so what is the daemon set? Then Helm chart. So we will start the Helm chart. So Helm charts. Tomorrow we will show you the. So tomorrow we will show you the daemon set. So why we need to use need to use the deployment file as a daemon set. Daemon set. So something like so we can use this for the logs collector and node monitoring. So node monitoring. So then Helm charts. What is that, guys? Helm charts. So what is Helm charts? So we'll show you tomorrow. So Helm is a package manager for the Kubernetes cluster. Helm is like as a in Linux. So how we install the packages, guys? How we install the package in Linux? So what are the commands? So what are the commands we use to install the package in the Linux, guys? You guys forgot, huh? Guys forgot? M and RPM, right? What is that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
M and RPM to install the packages, right? I want to install the package in the Kubernetes. How we can do it? So we cannot communicate, we cannot connect to that directly, we cannot connect to, right? So how it is a container running as a containers. How we can install the packages? Helm is the package manager for Kubernetes cluster. Helm is used to install required softwares in Kubernetes cluster. Helm will maintain charts in the chart repository. Chart means collection of configuration files organized in the directory. Okay, so we'll show you tomorrow how to. So what is Helm chart? How to install the Helms? So we'll show you tomorrow. Okay, guys. Understood?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yep, guys. So we'll continue from tomorrow. Thank you.